Hey there, here I am with another gear video, and as you can see, I'm not sitting around pointing the camera at gear that's down on my floor. I decided to do a little multitasking. I need to, while they have this really nice weather, it's cold, but definitely not as cold as some other parts of the country are right now, but no rain as we've been seeing lately around here. So I'm taking advantage, getting some miles in, because I need to just keep doing that as much as I can, because I am about 3 weeks away from catching my plane heading south. So I need to get those miles in to keep that training going for me. So I'm taking advantage of that, but at the same time decided to shoot my second gear video, and I hope the wind isn't too bad because I can feel it. This one's going to be predominantly on the clothing that I'm going to be using for various things on the trail. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. So for my base layer, I've decided to go with as far as the basic t-shirt that I'll be wearing. If the weather's really nice, that's all I'll be wearing, but more than likely I'll have my other stuff on too. But I'm going with the Athletic Works Dry Works t-shirt. Full disclosure, I did not go for some expensive brand. I went for a shirt that I have used multiple times on other backpack trips, training days like this. It works good. It's an athletic shirt made for runners and hikers and things like that, and it helps wick moisture away from you and has all those kind of nice properties. It dries fast, and so I decided to go with one of those kinds of shirts. Definitely not an expensive brand, because and I may do a video on this, there are some times you don't need to do that. There are certain things you don't want to mess around with, and you want to do some research and get the right kind of equipment, and sometimes that means spending money. But there are other times that you absolutely do not have to spend lots of money to get an item that will work just fine. And that's one of them, as far as I'm concerned, is the base layer t-shirt and things like that. Okay, as far as pants, for now, and I say for now, I am going to be going with my REI pants that are, again, they wick. They are mostly polyester, so they're not cotton and all that kind of stuff, because we all know the mantra for hikers is cotton is rotten. But the thing is I had 2 pair of those, and they have served me well on some tough backpacking trips, including the Lost Coast Trail and a few others in the Sierras and things. But one of the pairs, when I finally one day decided to convert it to shorts, I hardly ever do that. I usually prefer long pants. It's just good for leg protection and stuff like that, so I usually go with longer pants. But these can unzip, so I unzipped them and stuff like that, and then on one of them the zipper broke, would not go back on. Now, if I'm on a long trail like the PCT, I cannot have that happening. So I am kind of in the market, and if I end up getting a different set of pants, I'll probably say something when I'm out there on the trail and stuff. But for now, I'm going with the REI zipper conversion pants. They turn into shorts just because they're very light. They dry out fast, and they're tough enough to handle the trail. So that's what I'm going with for pants. And for those of you who want to know the TMI part, underwear, yes, I'm an underwear wearing guy. I know some don't. I know some, they wear like running shorts and things like that. Because I prefer long pants and usually wear long pants hiking now, I usually am an underwear wearer, and I'll be going with Fruit of the Loom, the polyester nylon stuff. What's it called? The breathable athletic underwear, and that's what I'll be using. I'll also be wearing my Rustic Ridge long sleeve shirt. I like it because it's very light, handles getting wet just fine, has vents in the back to kind of help you breathe and all that kind of good stuff. But it also offers UV protection and things like that, and just protection from scratches and stuff. Again, when I was a young man, I used to trek around the wilderness in cotton shorts and a t-shirt, and that was it and stuff like that. But now I have realized that I need the little extra protection from the sun. I need the extra protection from scratches and stuff. My skin doesn't heal the way it used to as a young guy, so I've kind of gone to the long sleeve pants type of hiking, and that's just how it is. And even in the desert, you're going to need that UV protection, and so that's what I'm going with. And that, I believe, is my base layer for the trail, will be that. Socks, I have gone with the Darn Tough Murano, I think that's how it's pronounced, wool socks. I've heard nothing but good things about them, and the fact that they are expensive is kind of a bummer, but I hear that they hold up well, and in the ways that they don't hold up, if through normal use you get a hole in them or some kind of damage or something like that, they will replace them, guaranteed. So they say, and I think I mentioned it before, they say once you buy a pair, you've bought a pair for life, because unless you purposely damage it, and they can prove you purposely damaged it or something like that, you get a hole in just one of them or both of them or something, the company will replace them. So I went with them, and I've been using them for a little while now in the shoes I'll be wearing, and they seem to work well. And going on that, my shoes that I'll be wearing on the trail are going to be the Hoka One One Stinson 5.0s. I have the 4.0s right now. They're working great. This year they just released the 5.0 line, so I will be getting a pair of those, breaking them in a little bit, and then that's what I'll be using on the trail, at least probably for the first 500 miles. We'll see what happens. If they work well, I'll end up getting another pair and replacing them. If they don't, then we'll see what I go to. But for now, Stinson 5.0s by Hoka One One. That's my shoes and the socks I'll be wearing on the trail. Okay, and then for inclement weather in the desert, we're looking at probability of some real cold nights. And there's always issues with things like wind, rain, things like that. You got to be prepared for it. And so for all that kind of stuff, I'm going to be bringing my Columbia fleece with me. That one I actually got at a thrift store, so it did not cost me a lot, but it is an actual Columbia. For rain gear, I'm going to be using my Frog Togs poncho, and I'll also be using my Frog Togs rain pants. So in case of rain, I'll have that covered. Also from Frog Togs, the hat I'll be wearing for most of the trail is by them as well. I like it because it looks like it's a pretty decent hat that it breathes, but at the same time offers you sun and some rain protection and things like that. So I went with that one. I'll also be wearing my Buff by Buff. I was never a Buff person at all. Then when I kind of got back into the backpacking, I decided to try one and got it, and it has been an amazing little item that multitasks in so many ways. Head cover, all kinds of different stuff like that. And so I decided to go with that. So I will have Buff by Buff on the trail. So you heard it here first. I will be on the trail in the Buff. Also, for inclement weather, any kind of issues and stuff like that, I'll be wearing my North Face jacket. I'm bringing it with me because it breaks down, packs very easy, it's light, and it provides, for its lightness, it provides pretty good wind protection and very good body heat. Like right now, it's cold this morning. When I first got out here, it was in the mid-30s, and we're now rising into the 40s, and I'm already warm enough that I may be unzipping it and stuff like that. So it'll work fine, and that's the North Face jacket. And one other small item, my gloves. I don't usually wear gloves, but when I started using trekking poles, I needed gloves because just the way I am with my grip and stuff like that, if I don't wear gloves to protect my hands, I end up getting blisters on my palms from the trekking poles and things like that. So I have got a cheap pair of Gold's Gym fingerless gloves. They're made for weightlifting and stuff like that, and they work great. They are not there to protect my hands from, they probably do some, But because they're fingerless, they're not like, you know, gloves to keep my hands warm and things like that. I'm not sure if I'm going to be bringing one of those along. We'll see what happens, but I do have the pair of fingerless gloves that I'll be using along with my trekking poles, and that will offer some protection to my hands. And that's the last of the small items. Now for sleep, and bear in mind, some of these items, even though they're part of my sleeping gear, it does not mean that if I need to, if it's very cold when I get started in the morning, that I may still wear them for a little while in the daytime before taking them off and putting them in my pack. First thing I have is my knit cap. You've seen it on a couple of other videos. It is not a special hiking cap whatsoever. I got it from the Ghost store, from the band Ghost. I happen to be a fan of that band. I think it's they're a very entertaining band. They put on some really great theatrics and do a lot of fun stuff. And so for fun, I got one of their knit caps, and then realized that, boy, it's nice and warm, keeps my head warm. And so I will be using that to sleep in as a head cover. And then if it's really cold in the morning and my Frog Talks hat isn't going to work for that, I'll wear that while I'm on the trail until it warms up. I'm also going to be using BVD long leggings, you know, basically long johns that are nylon, so they're really good for that. I'm going to be using a Russell long sleeve nylon shirt that also wicks moisture, but it's long sleeve and has a hoodie on it, so even more head coverage, and all that should cover me pretty well while I'm in my sleeping bag. If I have to, I can also, of course, wear my North Face jacket or anything else I want to wear when I go to bed, because when you're going to bed, layers also work for that. And I'm also going to be using my SLPR down booties. I do have, I know, you guys are like, oh, you're bringing booties, what kind of a... Anyway, those are specifically for bed, and I do have issues, especially in sleeping bags. My feet get cold very easy, and it is enough that it keeps me awake at night. I don't want that to happen, and so I am going to be bringing my down booties. Again, they're down, they pack very easy, they don't take up much weight or much space in my pack, and so that'll help me get a good night's sleep, which means I'll actually be able to get up in the morning and get on the trail and keep doing things, instead of being sleepless from cold feet and then being that much more gnawing on my mind about, oh, you should quit. So down booties it is. That's just how it goes, y'all. I also wanted to mention that I do have a pair of gaiters, Ultra Gators, and I don't know if I'm going to be using them or not. I have not decided. If I do, you'll obviously see them in the videos when I start getting on the trail. You'll see them. Excuse me. But so I'll put it out there if I end up using those. I have not decided yet. There's a couple of things I'm still kind of up in the air on. But that's basically the clothing that I'll be bringing with me on the trail. And again, I'll have at least one more gear video coming where I'm going to talk about some of the periphery stuff. You know, things like the trekking poles I'm going to be using, and what's in my first aid kit and stuff like that. But for the most part, between the last video and this video, that is the main crux of what I'm going to be carrying on the PCT. So I hope you're finding these videos informing, or if nothing else, maybe you're just laughing at me saying, oh my God, you're carrying that stuff? Okay, fine. And that's cool. You want to do that? You can go ahead and do that too. Doesn't bother me none. Yeah, so that's about it. I'm about 3 weeks out, and so we'll see you for the next gear video. And as always, thanks for watching.